All right, welcome to a OneDrive tutorial. So here I am on my OneDrive My Files section, which looks a lot like your file explorer on your desktop computer. OneDrive additionally has a home page that shows recent documents with some filters at the top, and then some quick access for other Teams or SharePoint or OneDrive things that you might have access to. Now, you can use OneDrive in a couple of different ways. You can access files online, and you can work with those files. And when you're in the OneDrive app in a web browser, then you get the Office 365 version of Word or Excel or whatever program is related, like PowerPoint, for example. And you can edit them online, and they're immediately edited live there and saved, which is kind of nice. If you prefer the desktop version of Word or Excel, then instead of using the OneDrive app here, you would instead have to use the OneDrive desktop app, right? So there's two different things going on here. I've got the OneDrive desktop app, which is going to try and connect my desktop computer to my online OneDrive. What's my online OneDrive? Well, my online OneDrive is online storage related to the account I have, for example, at Blue Mountain Community College, related to like my email address. So when you're in Outlook, you can go to that multiple dot button in the upper left, and you can switch from Outlook to your calendar or to your OneDrive, or if you're a SharePoint user, you can switch to SharePoint or even Teams here. And they're all interrelated, kind of interbred. We'll get to SharePoint and Teams later. So with the OneDrive desktop app, what that does is it connects your storage online to your desktop, so you can easily take stuff on your desktop or on a drive that's related to your desktop, like the iDrive, and connect it loosely, not tightly. I'll show you what that means. So if you've never connected your desktop, you'll have to enter your email address to sign in to the OneDrive app. This here. So the OneDrive app is separate from my access to the OneDrive that I was using in the browser there. Eventually you'll get signed in, and they're just going to give you a little bit of information. So here they're going to make a new directory that appears to be local in my users G. Parker OneDrive, Blue Mountain Community College. I could change the name of that, but that's I think a fitting name for this. For example, if you have a personal account with Microsoft, you could also have your personal account connected through this app by using that email address. This is a key here for the status of files. So when you're looking at your file explorer, you'll see these icons, and that's whether the file is online, whether it's synced to this device, and whether it's always available. And I don't want the mobile app. Okay. So what it means then, once you've connected the sync tool, is in your file explorer, right, which you might normally get to from the file explorer here. Maybe you have a link on your taskbar, your desktop. You'll now have a new tab on the left related to your BMCC OneDrive. And it'll say, in this case, OneDrive Blue Mountain Community College. And what you should notice, if I go there, then all of the folders and files in there should match what I saw before online here. So I have my _approved, my academic calendars, my admin, my academos, my catalog, and now all of that is synced here locally. And the benefit, again, of doing that is if, for example, let's pick this file again right here. If I want to edit that file instead of Office 365, I can now edit it with the local version of Word on my computer, if you prefer that version of Word. Later, please. Now, something to point out, you have a document section on your computer. That document section is separate from the OneDrive section that I just connected with the OneDrive app. If there's something in my documents I want to be synced online, then I have to store it in that online storage. And they're two different places. So you can't just sync all of your documents unless you grab all of your documents and stick them in this OneDrive section. So it's like having an additional drive connected to your computer. The drive is also accessible anywhere online. So if I go home on my desktop computer, I can either use the browser or I can use this OneDrive desktop app to connect to my files that I'm using right here. And that's the major benefit of OneDrive, that these files are accessible to me anywhere I can log into my email address, my account. Difference between OneDrive and SharePoint. So OneDrive is connected, for example, this is connected to me, gparker@bluecc.edu. SharePoint is not connected to an individual account, it's connected to a group account. So a group account has to be made by, for example, the IT department, and then you can access that. So let's take a quick look at SharePoint here. Let's see, I'm gonna go back here, and I'm just gonna switch from OneDrive to SharePoint. So SharePoint does have storage, and the storage is OneDrive. So there is a connection between SharePoint and OneDrive, and it's kind of a loose connection. So for example, I have a SharePoint group called the Curriculum Committee that I'm part of, and that Curriculum Committee has documents. And those documents are accessible here in SharePoint or over here in OneDrive. And the view is a little bit different, but it's the same stuff. So here I'm in SharePoint, here I'm in OneDrive, same stuff, slightly different view. Curriculum, again, is an account in SharePoint that's different than an account like gparker, and people are assigned to that account. And people can be owners of that account, they can be editors of that account, they can be viewers of that account. Anything in OneDrive or SharePoint can be shared out to everybody at BMCC or just some people at BMCC. Files and folders in OneDrive can be shared publicly as view-only folders or files. In SharePoint, by default, they are not viewable publicly unless you ask IT to set that directory to be publicly available, or that account to be publicly available. And then in that account, you'll have to decide which files and folders should be public and which ones should not. And that's a whole nother area we can address later. Thank you. This is our introduction. Have a great day.